I've certainly seen that there are people who I don't think people on the internet realize how much power they have to really like mess up
I
someone.
don't think they
So
do.
there's this perception that okay, if you're like successful or famous, that I don't know if this makes sense. It's like almost like the things that you have going well in life are in the same HP pool as the psychological attacks. But that's not how it works, right? So like I can have a really, really, really strong biceps, but that doesn't protect me from like Hodgkin's lymphoma. Like it just
Yeah.
like the dimensions of a human being, and maybe people understand this, right? So like you can have some dimension of your life going well, and if some other dimension of your life like goes really, really bad, there's a certain amount of resilience that carries through with like the human body. But generally speaking, having a great relationship doesn't make up for a toxic boss. It can help you withstand it. And I think the other big thing that people don't really appreciate is that, like, when someone has an emotional thing that happened to them, like it sounds like you lost a ferret that you were very closely attached to and had sort of
Yeah.
connected with, and when they kind of like attack you in that way, like that's very like hurtful.
Well, I mean, it's intended. And, like, I think what it came to is like, I can identify that and be like, okay, this is an unreasonable attack, right? There's kind of like reasonable attacks. You're like, hey, I'm upset at you for like legitimate reasons. This is why I'm upset at you, and we go, okay, cool. We either resolve that or we don't resolve it, and we kind of go from there, right? And then there's unreasonable attacks, which I think that is going in and be like, your ferret's out of mana. That's why it died. Like that's designed to just. It's designed to get in your head. It's designed. There's no someone trying to fix the scenario. They just want to. And so I kind of package those in different ways. But yeah, no, they still hit you. There's no dodging that.
So what I'm kind of curious about, Thor, is like, so first of all, I don't think that what you're going through is, I guess, justified. I mean, it's not my place to judge, but also like, it sounds like what you did was, I'm still not quite sure. You made a snide comment and then ran away in a hardcore dungeon?
I made a snide comment as we were escaping the dungeon, and 2 people died in that runaway.
Okay.
And that was it. And then all the people in 5. This is the funny part. The person who made the rude comment to me at the first place, it was like, "Why are you running?" He ended up getting caught in some other drama with it that I don't even know what happened, and I stepped away from it because I was like, I don't want to deal with any of this. I'm out. Right. After all that shit. But what ended up happening right after that was it just exploded, man. Like it just detonated into the sun of just like people being. I feel unreasonably angry because to me it's like that's a character in a video game. We just go make new characters, and you just the whole point, the whole motto for that entire thing was we go again. Your character dies. You make
Yeah.
another.
So I think that this is where things get like if you're open to talking about this, like I think it could be helpful. Because I think there's 2 things that can be true at the same time. One is that the amount of hate that you've received is not acceptable. That I think is true. Like in this moment, I believe that to be true. Like that's not okay. And the way that you are describing the story and the response that you got, there's a big gap there that I think does not so even if it's unfair, it seems like there's something missing to evoke. So what I'm thinking is like if there's a hardcore raid and people die, sometimes there's a weird situation on the internet where it's like Tinder catches fire and then things get blown out of proportion.
Sure.
So there's absolutely like an unfairness to that, but I'm also imagining and thinking about my experiences on the internet. And the way that you're describing it seems... So there's no question that things are like objectively, in my mind anyway, maybe I'm wrong here, but there's no way in my mind that you deserve what is happening to you, because I don't believe that someone getting death threats is warranted for anything that happens in World of Warcraft. I
I don't
just
think
don't
so
think that
either.
that's like
That's
I
ridiculous to me.
cannot
Yeah.
envision a scenario in which those 2 points get connected. And at the
I
same
I
time,
do understand the route that it carried though, and I can't explain that. Anyway,
yeah,
keep
so
going.
that's so because I think that like the nerve that so what I'm getting is that you struck a nerve. You really pissed a
Yeah.
lot of people off. And running away in a hardcore wipe, like a hardcore raid that is wiping, I do not think is the nerve that you struck. Does that make sense?
No. No,
So
it was the fact that I was smug on the way out. Cuz I made like the comment that I made was made with a smug face, right? Cuz like at that point it was like the group had already wiped once. We were in the process of wiping again, and I'm like, dude, like everybody who's involved in this is screwing up. Why are you calling out just me specifically? I'm going to make a smug comment in response. And then it turned into this is just this guy's fault. It's just my fault. Shouldn't have made a smug comment for it. Know that, obviously. But the response for this to be 100 days of this and all these crazy allegations being made against me, that's doesn't make sense.
so you made how did you made the smug comment on stream?
Oh yeah, no, all this was live.
Okay, so
Everything was
this
live.
was live. And then was there some kind of aftermath? So
Yes.
usually when this
So
stuff happens, it's like if things go to Twitter, that's when people I think really dig themselves
it's
into a
worse.
hole.
No, it didn't go to like I posted a post on Twitter saying, "Hey, this is all this stuff." I said in there like, "Hey, this everybody screwed up, including myself. This is everything that was going on," and that was that. And I have the post if we can go pull it up. Let me go grab it. Whoop.
So what I'm curious about is the people who got mad at you at the beginning. I'm not talking about the death threat,
Yep.
folks. The people who got mad at you at the beginning, what were they mad about?
They were mad that I was being smug. That was like the general initial catalyst for it. The problem was what I ended up seeing is a whole bunch of content creators because this is a content guild. They took a whole bunch of clips of me to make it look as exaggerated as possible and then turn that into content all over the internet. And they kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. Since there's so many content creators pushing it at the same time to try and get as many views as possible, it pushed this narrative and that spiraled it completely out of control. And when I say making content out of it, one of those creators actually had his child on video with the face blurred out say, "Pirate software is a disgusting roach." Like, this is wild shit. And that's not a small creator. That's like thousands of viewers, right? So you see this kind of shit and you're just like, what's wrong with you, man? Like, why are you doing this? I get it. That's why I put out the video of like anything for views. And it's like, dude, I get that you're trying to do this for views, but you're doing it to cannibalize people around you in the same space as you. That's not sustainable long term. Maybe they don't care that it's sustainable or not, but that's fucked up. I don't think there's any other way I can describe that. Is to try to cannibalize some other creator so you can get a quick view is nuts to me, man. Especially because throughout that event, I was trying to do things like, "Hey, let's go make content with this other creator." I was sending our community over to other people. Like one of the people that actually turned around and just immediately tried to turn it into memes and views and everything like that and try and go in on me. We had the whole community go over there and gave him a level 25 hype train. Like just, hey, you guys should support this dude. He's a smaller stream. He's got like 100 viewers. Go and support him. And everybody jumped over there and it was like $20,000 in a hype train, dude. And then immediately switches around and does that shit. And it's like, what? Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, so I know this is going to sound weird, Thor, but like I'm getting
Sure.
some missing qualities here. Have you heard that
What would you like to know?
phrase? So
Yeah.
do you know what missing means? The
No.
missing reasons? So I mean we can take a look at your Twitter post if like so I mean I think we've actually got a couple of options here. So like I enjoy talking to you. I like you. I respect you. I think that sometimes streamers make mistakes. And at the same time, I think that something about what you're describing feels like there's a chunk that's missing. So I
I think it's
totally
because it's all disconnected.
Morning, Lee.
Timeline-wise.
okay. Walk me
It's I guess it's hard to describe each individual piece. So the event inside of that dungeon happened. Then afterwards, I got brought into a call with the person who called me out. I left the call because he was shouting over me, and I was like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm not going to have a fight with you. I don't want to deal with it. And I left. So that kind of made that more. And then content creators started to make a big deal about it. I started to receive death threats in the game from other players. And I said on stream, I'm going to start reporting people for doing this shit. I'm going to go after them. That got clipped, sent out onto the internet. And then when people sent that out on the internet, they tried to say that I was going after other streamers, when in reality I was going after the people who were sending me death threats. And the only streamers that reported were the ones that had done things like said on stream, I'm going to go to Pirate Software's community and harass him because I think it's good content. Saying that live on stream, which is like 2 or 3 years. And I don't think that's a wrong thing to report. So they clipped that one, and this all kind of got spread onto Livestream Fail and all these little pieces out of context. I guess the basic way to think about it is, imagine you're driving your car, and there's a guy sitting in the side seat, and he handcuffs you and takes control of the wheel, and you just get to watch the car drive, and no one will listen to you saying, hey, I'm not driving the car. This isn't accurate. They don't listen to that anymore. They just see your car driving in that direction. So they take full control of the narrative at that point, and I can't do a damn thing about it. And that's what happened on Livestream Fail. And we get that all the time now, too. So, like, anything that I do on stream, this will probably be clipped out of context and put up on Livestream Fail as well. I'm not really surprised if something like that is. And they'll bring it up and go and do that kind of stuff. Yeah. Does that make sense? Or there's still more?
I would love to hear what else there is. And I think what bothers me the most about this is making sense for me on 2 major levels. One of which I think is... I'm just debating now for a second, because I think one of the things that I'm starting to hypothesize, I just really have to think about this, could really add fuel to the fire. So I have to think about whether I even want to mention that or not. So let's start with just getting more context.
Sure. So after all that Livestream Fail stuff went off, eventually it started to kind of fall away. But then anytime anything happened with Livestream Fail, anything, or anytime anything happened with OnlyFans, the guild, I'd get blamed for it. They would think that they thought it was part of some kind of a narrative that I would show back up, and it was like a bit. The whole thing was a bit, and all the hate was a bit. And I was like, no, I don't want to be a part of this. I'm out. I don't like. I don't want to deal with any of this. And then somebody actually DDoSed me in the middle of one of the only things to kill the Raiders. So they DDoSed a multi-billion-dollar company, which is wild. Like, that's crazy to me. So they DDoSed that, and then I had a ton of people dive into chat saying like, oh, you did it. Why did you DDoS OnlyFans? Why did you go after OnlyFans? And then I found out Asmund did that, and he was like, oh. And it's like, no, that has nothing to do with me. And I said it on stream. I was like, you can't make those jokes. People believe them. They just believe them. And it's not everybody. Most people realize the joke, but some people just believe that shit, and then they run with it. You know, and that's kind of where that's gone. Yeah. It's one of the most disturbing things. And in my chat right now, we're actually banning content. So this is definitely
what are you banning people for?
People that come in and say, like, calling me a roach, because the act of roaching in the game. Still 100 days. Which is the resource item that I could have used in the game at that time. Just over and over again. See the stream of bands. I knew that was going to happen.
How do you understand that?
How do I understand what?
Why that's happening so much?
What do you mean? I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah, how do you understand why people keep showing up? You're saying it's happening constantly, right? You're saying that...
Oh, it happens if I talk about it. It's just...
Right, so I understand that it happens every day. It sounds like it's, like, awful. I don't think you deserve this. At the same time, I think that if we want to, we can try to understand it. Is that interesting to you?
Sure. I mean, I think I do understand it. I think it's...
What do you understand?
I think it's become a popular thing. I think that's really what it is. It's become kind of like a signpost on the internet, like, hey, stop by and do this thing because it's funny. And I get that. Like, I understand that. You know, it's... Because for a lot of these people, they've never engaged with their community before. They don't know who I am. They're not really interested in who I am. They just want to pop in and say a thing and then get banned. And that's it, right? And some of them are chat hoppers from other communities, from creators that don't like me from that event and have created negative content about me. So they're doing that, and they come over from that community and they think that that's part of it, you know, or they want to be a part of that in some way. Some people describe it as parasocial within the community, but to be real with you, I think it's just people that want to be part of something. And if that something is just hitting me, like whatever.
Okay. Can you show me that? Do you feel okay? So like, is this what we're talking about today? Like,
I mean, I guess.
I mean,
you want to know how things are going. This is it.
Okay, so I think this has the potential to be great. And the reason for that is like I think that there's a lot that everyone who is watching right now can relate to and understand. The thing that I'm concerned about is that I'm going to challenge you in some ways. And the main thing that I'm concerned about is how the way that I challenge you could be flipped out of context, misconstrued, used as evidence that Thor is the worst human being on the planet. Does that make sense? Like, I'm actually like genuinely concerned about that. That like
I almost guarantee that it will.
Right. So then I think we have to make a decision about. So I think that there is a way. I'm hopeful, but I don't know. I think there's a way that if we have this conversation, it can actually decompress a lot of the emotional energy that's on the internet. But I think
I'd
a lot
be down
of
to talk about it because like it's. I'd be down to talk about it because to be real with you, it's not really changing anything at this point. Like the route of trying to ignore it, the route of trying to talk about it, route of trying to reason about it. We've done pretty much everything that I can think of at this point over like 100 days. And like I've sent over to Kronos, if you're there, I sent him the tweet.
Okay. Let me take a quick look at this. So, because I think this is like, I'm really sorry you're going through this. And I think that there's a lot that we have to be careful about. And also, I think the reason that we're here is to try to have some challenging conversations. So can I actually, while I'm waiting for that tweet from Kronos, I'm going to go grab an iPad because I think drawing here could be helpful.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, do it up. Actually, I need to find out if Kronos is here. Mods, in the emergency channel, is Kronos here? Buh? Is Kronos not here? Yeah, I'm just going to send it to him. We'll just do this. And I can send it to him in this channel because I don't know if he's actually here. There we go. Share stream, dude.
Okay. So, this is going to be
Jokes talking about the share stream that they just got to experience.
I know. It's great. So let me see if I can. I'm going to switch overlays for a hot second. Okay. And Thor, let me know, the second that this feels like not a good use of our time, please let me know.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So,
totally makes sense.
This OnlyFans stuff actually sucks. Lots of weird attack posts.
There's a couple of links in there as well.
Yeah.
That go to the original.
Okay, so let's take a look at that. And okay. So Okay, so to start with, here's my response to the dialogue log. From my perspective, I didn't feel I could save anyone else with the resources I had left, even with the manager and the road cooldowns. Since the call was to run was made, I followed the call and got out as quickly as possible. In every other instance where stuff is at the fan, the shot callers called a specific target, and nobody died, you call run, run, run. Okay, Yamato pinned the entire thing on me. Okay.
I still feel that way.
Okay. Our party went wrong. Each person who's made mistakes, including myself, to pin on a single person. Okay, hope it was worth it for you. Okay. So this was live on stream, right?
Yeah.
And so it was also live who made the call to run? Okay. Okay, so it sounds like here's the hate raid that you're talking about. Okay. So, thank you so much for...
And we expected, and that's why I wrote in there, I was like, those trying to defend me, don't worry about it. We expected that to last like maybe 10 days. The internet generally doesn't care about things a super long period of time. 100 days?
Yeah,
still
so...
people in chat like spamming and getting banned and like, that's wild.
This is, you were right, this is wild. So we're gonna like try to understand this, okay? So... God, this is gonna be tough. Okay, so let me start with this. So let's say that you do something, right? Let's say you take an action in life. In the response, would you agree that the response that you are getting is disproportionate to the actions that you take?
I would absolutely.
Okay, so let's I'm with you, okay? So I'm going to start by... Huh?
I think it's disproportionate at the level, to be clear. I think each person individually that responds to that thinks that they're a deal because it's just one person and they don't understand scale.
Okay, so I concur with that too. So let's start with a couple of like really basic things. So the first is, I do not believe, this is a judgment that I'm making, you're welcome to disagree, but I think the majority of people who are on the internet, I would hope, can agree that something that happens on a stream involving a hardcore raid does not warrant a death threat. That's my first axiom, okay? The second thing is that
I would hope so.
even if we think you're an asshole, that the amount of psychological punishment you are experiencing is, at this point, sufficient. So I would encourage everyone who is watching this, listening to this, if shit gets clipped out of context, and because I think this could, go wahoonie shaped real quick. Please, if y'all are disseminating information about this conversation, please include this part, which is that we're all human beings who do the best, generally speaking, that we can. Do people make mistakes? Absolutely. Are you allowed to get mad at them? Absolutely. Should you do death threats? No. But also, I want everyone who is a hater on the internet to really stop for a second and think about what the hate does to you. Right? Like, you're hurting another human being, but like, for what purpose? Like, I think it's just kind of, it doesn't make the world a better place. I know that in the moment you feel like, oh, I want to put someone in their place. Like, I'm like, he needs to be taught a lesson. He needs to be talked to, he's like, oh my God, like, he did this. And I understand those feelings. I'm not even saying that those feelings are wrong. But also, like, I don't know how to say this. Like, it's just a bit much. I don't think it's actually helpful in the long run. You guys are doing all this crap to Thor. It's not clear to me that he understands why you're doing it. Okay? And I think that's the first place where we're going to start. Does that make sense, Thor?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I can understand being mad about it at the beginning. Like, I get it. Your favorite streamer's character died. Like, that's going to make you upset. I was smug about it at the time. I get it. I made a mistake in a dungeon. the dungeon didn't go well. Everyone, like 2 people died. Like I understand being angry then. I don't understand thousands, and I mean thousands of people 100 days later still on it. Like that's really weird to me. That's not something I could get, right?
So this is going to be a little bit tricky. I'm wondering if there's some way that I'm going to play around with.
Oh yeah, no, they're piling in now. The mods are just
That's okay.
making
So
it.
I'd encourage everyone who's watching this right now to just give Thor a break for just a hot second. And just don't just reflexively knee jerk like, okay, like we're gonna talk.
Oh,
Can you see this?
I can, yeah.
Okay,
It is
then,
now on stream as well.
okay, let me see. Okay, so
Kind of.
hopefully this isn't too laggy because I think I'm just doing a ton of screen sharing. And you
My UI is not the best for this.
okay, hold on. Then here's what I'm gonna do. What I'd like you to do, Thor, because I think this is a bit too much for something going on with my capture. Okay, so what I'd like you to do, Thor, is pull up my stream and mute it, but watch the iPad on my stream. Can you do that?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, cool. Because when I screen
grab
share
your
with you,
stream.
I just start lagging too much. Or
Yeah.
actually, maybe this will. Okay,
Let me grab it.
so let's start with this. Over here is death threats.
Got it.
Okay. Over here is your actions. And the other thing that I want to do here is like we're gonna use you as an example, but I think that like literally every human being on the planet could benefit and is guilty of what I think you were quote unquote guilty of. So I think there's a fundamental thing going on here, which like I think once people understand, my hope is that every human being who is watching this, I have a couple of goals. One is to hopefully develop a little bit of compassion towards you. But the main goal that I have here is to try to offer some potential, because I don't know if I'm right here, okay? Some potential insight into the gap between what happened to you and the response that you received. So the first thing is that this is disproportionate, right? So
Yeah, I can see that.
what
Yeah.
they're responding to is something in here, in between your actions. Like you're evoking a response. So here's your actions. And then there is some kind of equation that maybe has let's call it a multiplier. And then over here we end up with harassment. So does this make more sense? Like if we want to understand why this is happening to you, how this is happening to you, there is huh? Hello? Can you hear me, Thor?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, you're roboting out really hard. I think that response was like 15 seconds ago.
Okay. So let me see.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh no.
I wonder if let me try.
Yeah, his internet is dying.
Oh boy. That's terrible. Give me a second. Let me see if I can fix this way. Hold on, chat. Can you hear me now, Thor? Testing?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I wonder if let me see,
Yeah.
just make sure that
I can hear you, but I don't think you can hear me in real time.
Okay. I'm gonna just change. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, with the sound.
Yes,
Okay,
I can hear
sound.
you.
With sound.
Hey, yeah, I can hear you. Okay.
Second delay.
Okay, cool. So I think this is pretty normal. And we're gonna get back
Like
to it,
one,
okay?
like one.
So if we look
Okay.
at let me go back to this.
Ugh.
This. Let's see if this works. And
I'm gonna do
Oh my god.
your stream and then bring it up on here so that we can see what you're drawing. Like,
yeah, give me just 1 second. There we go. Okay, so I think I'm back to, yeah, just pull me up on the stream. Okay,
yeah.
so if we look at it, right, so there's your actions, and then there's like various amplifying effects that result in the level of harassment that you receive, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I can understand that completely.
So, and then let's like toss in, like, there's another variable here, which is like memeing. There's another variable here, which is like momentum.
UAV online.
There's another variable here, which is like content creators hopping on. Content reactions, right? So each of these things is an amplifying effect. Agreed?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me ask you, in your gut, do you think that this plus these things is sufficient to explain, not say that it's justified, but explain what you are going through?
I don't think so, because I think the internet would have given up about it.
I completely
Wow.
agree. So I think there's a big
It's
variable.
too long-lived for that.
There's a big variable. You've tapped into something that people really don't like. Okay? So, and here's what I'm kind of hearing. So I'm going to just like write some things out here, okay? So these are just kind of things that you've said. And I wonder if this will like, if something will click. Okay, so first thing is that there's death threats. That's bad.
Yeah.
There's banning a lot of people. There is ghost dying. There is
Yeah,
people
that wasn't even the first time that happened. By the way.
trolling
Ghost
you
was just
about
the most
this.
recent. Yeah.
There's people calling you a pedophile. There's someone's kid calling you whatever.
Yeah, the roach thing.
Okay. Right. And then the other thing is there's your like making sense of it. So there's like kind of this Gish Gallop. There's you said something about these people like ... like, you know, these people are like why are they doing this? Like you were talking about like what these people.
The best way that I put it is, it seems like some people think that they want to be a part of that because it's something that's like greater than themselves. Like they're part of a story, they're part of a narrative. A lot of people that were engaging with OnlyFans stuff were seeing it as like being part of that, and they kept,
Okay.
there were some of them who kept coming back and saying like, when are you going to jump back in and go and kill the people that called you out in that dungeon? And like they thought it was like a story, and they didn't realize like this is not like a reality show. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Right. So I think there was a lot of that, which I also didn't expect that. That was really, yeah, they thought it was like WWE. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Okay. So like you think that they think it's WWE. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they think it's like a show, right? They don't think it's real.
And then so then you use this car analogy of like someone else has taken control of the car.
Yeah.
And then I'm not driving. I'm being punished. Someone else is responsible. Does this make sense?
I would
Right.
say someone else is fully responsible, but I think for that level, yeah.
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 So when I
'Cause
write,
you can't control it. And when I say like someone else has grabbed the wheel, it's more like that's not what happened. Here's what happened. But like I guess the basic way to put it is like if you're having a conversation with someone, they make an accusation at you. They say, "You're a terrible person because of this thing." And you go, "Well, I didn't do that thing." And they go, "That's just what a person who did this thing would say." Like where do you resolve that at that point? Right?
that's a great question.
It's that stuff.
So So, do you know people, or have you heard of people who get accused of things and say, I didn't do that thing, but there are other people who continue to insist that they did that thing?
Yeah, it's called Every Day That Ends in Y on the internet.
Okay. What about things that are not on the internet?
I don't know. Like that seems like a pretty normal thing among humans. I see that
Yeah.
done
So,
a
has
lot.
there ever been someone in your life that you felt was like had done something and you were really confident that they had done something and they were like, that's not really how it happened?
I was confident. Like I felt that before in my life. Yeah. And then I either want like proof or not proof. If I don't have enough proof, then like I'm not gonna. What am I gonna be mad about at that point? I guess is the basic way that I usually feel about that. Like if I have an accusation against somebody, I'm gonna be like, hey, this is how I feel about this. And then they go, hey, well, here's evidence to the contrary. And then we talk it out. Is generally how that is. I think when I was younger, I was a lot worse at that, obviously. That's something I think that you learn over time is like how to conflict resolve in a way that is sane, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. So, is sane.
When I say
So,
is sane, I mean more like conflict resolve based on things that are provable or not provable, not
right.
just gut feelings.
I'm
Yeah.
with you. And how does that work out?
Well, when I'm talking to people who are older, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. I find that for me, there's very few people that are younger that can have conversations like that. There's still ones that will, but I find like usually people past their mid 20s is when they start to be able to do conflict resolution better
Okay.
and want more of a trust but verify kind of approach, which is like I trust that you're telling the truth from your perspective, but I need to verify your claim before I get mad, right?
Okay. So, I want you to just like, we're going to tunnel down
SPH.
into that for a second. Okay. So, let me just understand this. So, like, people who, your method of conflict resolution sounds super reasonable, right? It's like, if you've got proof, then you push forward. If you don't have proof, you kind of let things go. And then when I ask you, how does that work? And you're like, well, if people are mature, it works great. But if it
Yeah.
doesn't work for them, they're immature.
I wouldn't say they're immature,
I
like
know
an
you wouldn't say
accusation
that.
as a result.
I'm
Yeah.
using that word. You use the word young, but I think the implication of that is that there's like a value judgment on people who that works for and a value judgment on people who that doesn't work for.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, I actually do a value judgment. Like when somebody comes in and goes, "You're this, this, and this," and I go, "No, I'm not." And they're like, and then they just spew a bunch of vitriol. I just ban them, right? Like that value judgment at that point is like, okay, this is a person that is not able to have a normal conversation. They don't want to have a normal conversation. They just want to spew some like garbage. They don't care what's true. They just want to fight about it. And then I don't want them here, right? And that's where I do that kind of evaluation of like, are you cool enough to like, are cool headed enough to have a conversation, or do you just want to shout what you saw on Reddit? You know, it's really what that is.
So what is you, so this is the trolling that you receive is fine, but for the people who got upset with you, what is your understanding of the most rational reasons why people got upset with you? Let's forget about the
'Cause I was
trolls for a
smug.
second. Huh?
You know, 100%. It's because I was smug, right?
What does
Like
that mean?
it means that in this situation, in that moment, it appeared that I didn't feel remorse. And people thought that I didn't apologize. They thought that I didn't care. They thought that I wanted those characters to die or some weird shit with that. But no one stopped to actually ask me. They just saw the clips out of context that made it look like I was a big villain, right? And like I get that, but if you want to talk about that stuff, if you want to believe that, you should probably just come and ask me,
So hold on
and
a
then we can
second.
talk about it.
How do you know that
Yeah.
they formed their opinions based on the clips?
Because they repeat verbatim the same message over and over again that we can only find on places like Livestream Fail, the Reddit. It is copy pasted information, the same exact messages, the same exact thing. They use, like the same phrases over and over again for this kind of stuff. And the only way that you get that is if people are getting it all from the same source.
Okay. Um,
You you've done more than during the retreat? Yeah, and I said so in social posts, but nobody cared about those. I think that was one of the weirdest things about it is like, I said, yeah, I could have done more in this. I said everybody made mistakes in there, including myself, but no one cared. They
Okay.
just wanted to continue the drama.
So
right?
Thor, when I point this stuff out, do you notice anything with all the stuff that I've written out? Like, does anything kind of pop to you or not so much?
Trying to deflect from like personal ownership over something, but I don't think I'm doing that, so I'm not sure.
Why do you say that?
Because you put I'm not over in the right side?
Okay.
Yeah.
But
that'd be the only reason for that.
Yeah, so I think I think your assessment is somewhat correct. I think there's like a couple of things that are like blind spots is what I would call them.
Sure.
So the first is that I've noticed that this is what's so tricky about this. I think that objectively you're correct. I don't think that anyone deserves the degree of harassment that you've received. I hope people stop. I really wish they stop, and I mean that genuinely. And at the same time, I notice just the way that I hear you speak, I notice certain blind spots or narratives that are constructed. So the first thing that
I'm
you...
nervous about talking. It's a defense mechanism entirely because of the fact that this has been going on for so long. It involves all my staff, my general well-being. It involves my physical security at events. It involves all that stuff, and it makes me nervous to talk about it. So it's hard to, in a time like that. It's just hard to articulate, if that makes sense.
Okay, so that begs two questions. One important one, which is, are you sure that we should be talking about it? No, it's not. No, it's not too late. We can stop. We can stop right this second.
I would rather talk about that.
Okay.
The reason why is because I find this is very serious. I find if we don't talk about this, it's not going to help other people. But this is something I think needs to be talked about because the amount of hate and abuse that's going on from this isn't just...
Okay.
I know that's going to happen to somebody.
I agree. I think that you are pretty unlucky here, but I think you are the unlucky person who has tapped into something very fundamental in human psychology that has like triggered the shit out of people.
Likely, yeah.
Okay. So I want you to notice what just happened. Okay. So it's now that you're insisting that we talk about it, fair enough. I said, hey, I'm noticing something about your narrative. And what was your answer? What do you mean?
Something else.
No, we just talked about it. I said, hey, I'm noticing something about your narrative. And then you said what?
That I was like, blame.
Okay. Yes. And then what did you say after that?
I don't remember.
Okay. So then what you said is, the reason I'm doing it is because I'm anxious.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, 100% anxious.
Right? I'm worried.
There we go. Okay.
Right? So the interesting thing is that, like, you're doing something really interesting, which is that, like, you provide a very logical reason, which is very compassion-inducing for why you are doing the thing that you're doing. Right? So, like, who in their right mind, when you say, yeah, the narrative that I'm creating is because I'm afraid for my physical well-being, like,
yes.
How is that challengeable?
It's not.
100%.
Yeah.
So I think what you are doing is something that is, I don't know what word to use, has a negative valence to it. You're doing something that's bad, and the way that you respond to it makes it unchallengeable. Like, you're doing this thing over and over and over again.
Okay.
right? So the
What
way
about
that you're,
that would be
huh?
negative about that, though?
What?
That's what I'm trying to understand. I said, what about that is negative?
That's a
in that
very
moment?
excellent question. So now we get to something
Yeah.
really interesting about human psychology. So if I'm pissed at you and you take away my reason to be pissed at you, what do?
You get pissed, more pissed.
Absolutely. So how?
So you're saying that basically it's created a bunch of anger, and then by having a situation and talking about it and showing like, hey, this is what's going on, it's created a scenario where people are more angry because they don't have a vent. They don't have a way of getting it out.
That is where we're. Hold on, let me just fix this real quick. Oh, because I wonder if you're going quiet again. So I just jacked you up. So I think that is the first step to it, right? So there's something that there's something that people. Deflecting is maybe a good word. There's something that you're deflecting that then triggers people to like, because they're not getting what they want from you.
He's really
Does that
slow.
make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
There's an alarm going off.
So
Fucking slow.
now the
piece of
question
shit.
kind of becomes like, I don't know if this sort of makes sense, but I think when I
Bro,
hear
man.
your story, what I hear
Holy
is,
fuck, I'm retarded.
and this is what's so tricky about it, is like I think everything you've said is
What am I even
logical
doing?
because you kind
Why
of
am I
base
even
things on sort
streaming?
of proof, right? But
Who is this
I'm
one
noticing that
viewer?
like
Bro, कुछ
the way
बोलो.
that you accept
Chat.
responsibility is like 1% of what your narrative is. So you say that you were smug,
Yeah.
right?
I was super smug about it.
And
Yeah.
I think that feels like a tiny, tiny, tiny part of your narrative.
I think it's only a tiny part of the narrative because it's the flashpoint. It's the moment that started, right?
Sure.
So it's hard to make that larger in the story. But yeah, I was
no,
smug.
I mean,
I was smug about it.
I think it sounds to me like, and like now I'm going to say something that's like, this isn't, I don't know what better word to say. I think it's not the flashpoint. I think it's the fuel.
Okay.
So
So you think that was a catalyst for something else?
I think this sounds judgmental, but I think the way that you responded in that moment, so you said early on, you made some kind of like joke, right? Where you, like someone said run, and then you said, I don't want to piss them off, so I'm going to make a joke instead of saying, bro, I ran because you told me to run. You remember when you said that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that there's like little things that you're doing that,
Bro, it's a new
so
bike.
if I made the call to run and then you ran
Bye-bye.
and then I was like, bro, why are you running? And then you